How does the best graduating end up being so unsuccessful? I've been inspired to make this video after I ran into one of my university Coursemates. Now I need to tell you a bit about this guy. This is the guy you could say then was book focused. You know, in the universities we have all kinds of students. We have the book focused library kind of students. We have the clueless ones, the ones you go and ask why they're in school and they got no idea why they're in school. We also have the noisemaker, but this guy is one you could say was book focused, was a library kind of guy. So we weren't so surprised when he came out as one of the best graduating. So what happened after graduation? That's where the story begins. Welcome to my channel, Shani's Digest. I welcome on board my new subscribers. Well, I appreciate my returning subscribers. This is a channel where we get to speak out and say it as it is. Now, we really want to find out, what is the university education useless? How does the best graduating students end up being so unsuccessful, end up being worst achieving? So that's what this video is all about. I need to tell you a bit about this, my friend that I just ran into. And I ran into him. I was taken aback by the way he looked. He looked forlorn. He looked disillusioned, dejected, as if the whole world was, collapsing on him. And I asked, what happened from being the best graduating to being what he is? Psychoanalyzing him, I could see that he has lost faith in himself. His confidence was brutally bruised. And I saw a man that was in dire need of serious self-reassurance and belief because his confidence level was at its lowest ebb. Now the question is, does your university degree prepare you for the real world challenge? That's the question. This issue of course mismatch vis-a-vis the career path you eventually take when you leave the university is a serious problem. You see someone that read engineering and the person ends up being a bank teller. I don't understand that. So why did you have to spend all those years in the university? Did you spend all those years in the university studying engineering, civil engineering, mechanical engineering, only to end up being a bank teller? For goodness sake, how do churning out engineers without providing the necessary job opportunities to accommodate them would definitely make them desperate. They want to just take what comes their way because they need to survive. Personally, I have an experience when I gain an entry-level employment, when I just left school. It'd be to shock you to know that one of the recruits, that was employed alongside me was actually a medical doctor. And I couldn't understand what a medical doctor was doing as an entry-level management staff. Course mismatch. You read medicine, but here you are. So that's it. So what is really the problem? Understand that I had to ask him personally, why would you leave medicine or practicing medicine after you went through what you went through, just to end up with someone that probably did a 4-year program in the university? And his response was very curious. Very curious. How does this school curriculum prepare these graduates to tackle position? Simple. Cost mismatch vis-a-vis and career opportunities. Churning out medical doctors without providing the hospitals to accommodate them is a disaster waiting to happen. What is likely to happen? There will be serious migration. They will migrate. They will definitely, just like what you're saying, we have our medical doctors every year migrating to Canada, migrating to UK, migrating to the US. That's what happens when you churn out graduates without corresponding job opportunities. What do you expect? Disaster. They will leave. There will be a brain drain. That's what happens. So oftentimes, these graduates, and in the school curriculum, there's so much mismatch of courses vis-a-vis their career paths, tackle the complex problems of the society when they finally leave school. So if you find yourself feeling forlorn and disillusioned because you're unable to eke out a living, thrust some hope upon yourself. And the only way you can do this is to stop the negative self-talk like, oh, I am so unfortunate in life. Why are things not working well for me? Because this can be very demotivating. You don't need that. You don't need such negative self-talk. You need to motivate yourself by re-engineering the way you think. So what do? I ask the question again. You have realized now that one, your university degree cannot secure you a job in the manufacturing sector because the manufacturing sector is moribund. It cannot secure you a job in the automobile industry because the automobile industry is also moribund. So what do? You have to think outside the box and recreate yourself and make yourself useful. How do you relaunch yourself now that it appears your university education has failed in guaranteeing your future? You've got to have a change of mindsets by becoming more entrepreneurial in thinking and by creating an authentic pathway that can create wealth, thereby securing your future. Pick up yourself if you really want to get a job. And if you think your degree cannot give you that job, improve yourself, take up some professional training, change your career path, and make yourself more relevant to the economic milieu. Begin to project yourself positively because your self-doubt will only create insecurity. Embrace that can-do spirit that is inside of you by this positive projection because that is the only way your confidence and belief can be rekindled. For example, I can tell you this for free. Some of my coursemates whom we graduated together have long changed their career path, perhaps to remain more relevant. Some into medicals and others into law. Perhaps they found themselves redundant and they needed a change of career path. That's how we remain dynamic and relevant in a society where degrees do not necessarily define who we are in the real world. And that's how we respond to such a hydra-headed problem of course mismatch and the choice of career paths. So I ask the question again, is university education useless? Is university education useless? Remember, we come from a background where we're being fed that if you don't have a university education or university degree, you're not going to be respected in the society. Your future cannot even be guaranteed. You won't even have a future. That's what we are fed with, especially in my country. Having a degree is a serious big deal. So that's the mindset. You grow with this mindset, it begins to take a toll on you, and then you internalize it. Before you know it, it becomes your forte. So how do you break away from this mindset, knowing that most of these degrees do not have the job placement in the markets? Whereby graduates have been churned up every year without the corresponding job placement because the jobs are simply not there. Now you have the degrees. There are no jobs. So what do? How do you pursue your interest? How do you eke out a living? How do you even make money? So this brings us to the most difficult question. How can the university education be encouraged when your future cannot be guaranteed by it? It's a simple question. How do I convince or tell someone, go to school, come back, things are going to be much better for you, when they have, copious examples to showcase that, this man spent a number of years in school and then came out. I mean, for the past 5 years, he can't even, so you begin to ask yourself, how can the university education be encouraged when your future cannot be guaranteed by it? It's a simple question. How? How do you convince someone that university education should be encouraged when obviously your future cannot be guaranteed by it? In my country, they even call it, in fact, they will tell you that school na scam. That's what they say. I mean, using the local parlance here, school na scam, meaning that you go to school, you invest, your investment will just go down the drain. You can't even reap from it. So, so that's what they say is a scam. So why would I have to go to school and spend all the time in the school when I should probably have used that time to maybe improve myself, learn some trade, and then become useful to myself and maybe to people who would depend on me, my parents, my aged parents who would depend on me. So why would I have to spend that time in school and then come back and then be, so that's it. They see school as a scam.
Well, oftentimes business education today, and I see it all the time, kids come out of college, the best colleges, Wharton and Harvard and Stanford and some of the great business schools, and they'll come out and they won't have practical experience. There's too many case studies that aren't practical.
There's no need even to have a college degree at all, or even high school. I mean, if somebody graduated from a great university, that may be an indication that they will be capable of great things, but it's not necessarily the case. You know, if you look at, say, people like Bill Gates or Larry Ellison, Steve Jobs, these guys didn't graduate from college. But if you had a chance to hire them, of course, that would be a good idea.
Because a lot of kids just in school kind of puzzled as to why they're there. Like,
the entire purpose of a good university is to give you a foundation to fail, not a foundation to get an A. And if you graduate from college with straight A's, you have to do some serious soul searching as to why you chose to spend your time doing that.
The A students work for the B students, the C students run the businesses, and the D students dedicate the buildings.
You see, I see say no need for us to go to school to say we won't find work because school na scam. You better say you go learn handwork. Even my president self no even go school. And for Nigeria, see say they clear say if you go prison, if you come, you go become president. We no get work. We no think say you go school, can't go enter office. La yo, me will be where that say I better pass you. We go school. You better know what you need to do.
You can see every year we churn out about 600,000 graduates from the Nigerian universities and the polytechnics. I think about 174 universities and 134 polytechnics every year. You can see the school curriculum is our educational template and is indeed based on, a curriculum of the last century, which cannot compete with the demands of the 21st century. So basically, the degree that you are, carrying around is not competitive enough to get you the job that you so desire anywhere in the world. There are about 174 universities in my country, including 134 polytechnics. Now let's compare the number of graduates being churned out by these institutions every year compared to the number of those that got employments. Employment rate to be about 33.30%. That's what the Bureau report is saying. But for some people from some quarters, some other reports, and this is the government reports, and from some other statistics, that's actually saying that the unemployment rate is as high as 35.2%, which translates to about 65 million people are out of job. So that's what this report is saying. And then you can imagine 64 million people out of job. That's a huge number of people. So that explains whenever government announces any vacancy, you can see the flurry of applications that would be submitted, and for apply people, the number of people that would actually apply for these jobs. A situation that happened in 2016, I think that was a certain job vacancies were announced in the Ministry of Interior, I think, and almost about 600,000 graduates, applied for these jobs. The crowd was so huge that there was stampede, and which resulted to about 16 people losing their lives. And then government came down and then compensated the family of these people who lost their lives in their bid to securing employment from this ministry. So it does appear as if when when someone dies in the course of seeking employment, and then government will suddenly remember that his or her relations should be given, automatic employment, which was actually what they did then when 16 people lost their lives. I think the family members there were compensated and were given, immediate employment. And then the same thing played out in 2018. In 2018, was in Ministry with Federal Inland Revenue Service. About 500 job vacancies were declared. A staggering number of graduate, numbering about 700,000, actually applied for this job. So you can see that because the jobs are not there, the moment vacancies are announced, you see the surge in application. So that's what it tells you. So it is a sad story here, because if the system is, I will see the economy is doing very, very well, and then we have a manufacturing sector working and the automobile industry working, and then things, maybe economy is doing well, I'm sure there shouldn't have been this kind of responses whenever job vacancies are declared. It's just that the jobs are not there. So it's time for them to start thinking outside the box and start being innovative in the way they begin to react to these certificates that they have, because the certificate alone cannot secure your future. So you have to begin to look beyond that, and then get yourself retrain yourself, like I said earlier. Retrain yourself, attend professional training, retrain yourself. If need be, you change your career path to make yourself more relevant, because it's obviously clear that your certificate as it is that you have at the moment can actually not secure your future. So you don't have to be stuck by that. You have to begin to think of things that would, engender something that would maybe create more wealth for yourself, and then something that would definitely secure a future for you. So the foundation for which this university education or university degrees is based, that's the curriculum, is outdated, it's obsolete, it's got to be rejected, it's got to be upgraded. If it is not upgraded, our graduates will continue to be redundant. So the government has no choice than to look critically at, the university curriculum, and then make it very relevant to this 21st century. Otherwise, how do you expect a university curriculum that leans on an outdated teaching model of the last century to create a competitive edge for these graduates? And if our government does not do anything to fix this misalignment between course and career paths opportunities and reposition our graduates to be globally competitive, then they will continue to face this cyclical unemployment. So the foundation for which this university degrees is based, the university curriculum is obsolete, it's outdated, and has to be upgraded, has to be rejected for these graduates to meet today's jobs demand and global competitiveness and relevance. Thank you for finding time to watch the video. I appreciate your time. If you like the video, give it a thumbs up, strike on the notification bell so that you get to be notified whenever a new video is uploaded. Leave your comments down below and subscribe to the channel while I meet you at the other side, where we get to interact as usual on our comment session. Thank you for watching.